From distant lands we gather, hearts of fire all along. Oh, big Nick calls we follow, through the storm and through the fight. For Valhalla we will borrow strength and might under moonlight. Warriors of the ancient sea, songs of glory dark and bold. In the night, our spirits free, legends born, tales unfold. Oh, big Nick calls we follow, through the storm and through the fight. For Valhalla we will borrow strength and might under moonlight. From horizons wild we roam, with thunder in our soul. Every battle brings us home to the stories ages told. Oh, big Nick calls we follow, through the storm and through the fight. For Valhalla we will borrow strength and might under moonlight.
There! Hello! Hello and welcome. It's Friday, and I haven't streamed since Monday, and other than that, posted videos, taking care of my new channel, trial watch clips. So, but I miss you guys, so I decided to do what more or less I'm the last Nick on LawTube that can actually drink alcohol. So I decided, let's get on. Sent out a handful of invites, and I have no idea if they will show up. And talk about what happened this week in all the courts and all the trials and all the things. And so Karen Reed, but Becky Boo, Zachariah Anderson. Zachariah Anderson's wrongful conviction is coming up to its 2-year sad anniversary. He is currently serving for murder, hiding a corpse, and stalking. And he did neither. One of the first cases I covered on this channel. So, and Excited Utterance, Hella, is going to do a stream, I believe, on... Let's see here, where was it? Saturday at 7 p.m. Saturday at 7 p.m. And I'm going to be there. I am so going to be there. I'm so going to be there. Hi, Gwendolyn. Hi, Sweetfly. Hi, Denise Sells. Hello, you guys over at Rumble. And yeah, this is not streamed on X because I don't want to. But the first topic I wanted to get into is with Becky Hill. And yeah, as Murdoch court clerk Becky Hill released on bond after arrest on perjury and misconduct charges. If you remember Becky Boo, there was a lot after the Murdoch trial, about her misconduct in court, out of court, the book she released and later had to pull back because large portions of it was plagiarized. She tried to cash in on the Murdoch trial to the extent that, in my personal opinion, she wanted a guilty verdict so much that she decided to be a part of it. And oh boy, what a lot of people, oh no, Becky Boo is honesty itself. Becky Boo is this, Becky Boo is that. These people are suddenly very, very quiet. Very, very quiet. Let's see here. The former South Carolina court clerk who presided over the 2023 Alex murder trial has been released from jail after posting bond Wednesday following her arrest for alleged misconduct during the trial. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division on Wednesday afternoon announced that Hill, 57, has been charged with obstructing justice and misconduct in Colleton County and perjury in Richland County. Have you, folks, have you any idea how hard it is to get somebody charged with perjury? And lately, we have the Laura Owens case. She's charged with perjury, but that was so over the top, so absolutely over the top, it was ridiculous. Becky is one of them, a part of the old boys club, so to speak. She court clerk in Colleton County, where the Murdoch trial, she basically sought the position when she became a court clerk just before they decided to arrest Mr. Murdoch. So the timing is a bit suspicious. And then testimony, I mean, late at trial, there was a juror was disqualified just before deliberations. And after the trial, there were affidavits about misconduct, how Becky tried to influence the jury, and everybody in that county came to Becky Boo's defense, more or less, except a neighboring county's court clerk itself. And then they had a hearing, and we're going to watch that hearing because there is where I believe the perjury charge arose. Now, the obstruction of justice and misconduct, that's from the trial, but the perjury is from that hearing. So we're going to play that hearing here and see where we can find. Now, I'm going to get it from memory, but I will sure as hell point it out when I see it happen. Let's see. Let's talk more about this. She received a $30,000 bond in Colleton County and $50,000 bond in Richland County. The charges stem from a January 2024 hearing in the South Carolina Supreme Court, when Justice Jean Toll ruled that a new trial was not necessary for Murdoch, who was convicted in the June 2021 murders of Maggie and Paul. Murdoch has requested a new hearing based on allegations of jury tampering surrounding Hill, which Murdoch's defense team has argued warranted a new trial. Charging documents state that when Toll asked Hill, "Do you allow anyone from the press to view sealed exhibits?" Hill responded, "No, ma'am," which is apparently inconsistent with evidence obtained by authorities. Yada, yada, yada. The state's ethics commission last year accused Hill of using her official position at Colleton County Clerk for financial gain, specifically to promote her book about the Murdoch case. Yeah, Behind the Doors of Justice was the name of the book. That is an interesting title that can mean a lot of things, because she might see herself behind the doors of justice herself. Slam. And they continue to say, we have long raised our concerns about the conduct during and after the trial, and this arrest further Dick Putlian and Jim told Fox News Digital in a Wednesday statement that while the charges against Hill are serious, they are not surprising. Yeah, Mats, the title can be reused in her second book. Oh, this is so funny. Oh, by the way, it's Friday. The Wheel of Regrets is at play. Just saying. Just saying. Hi, Derek. They, Dick and Jim says, we have long raised our concerns about the conduct during and after the trial, and this arrest further underscores the need to protect the integrity of the judicial process. Every defendant is entitled to a fair and impartial trial, and we look forward to Alex Murdoch finally getting that fair treatment. Putlian told Fox News that he believes the charges against Hill will result in a new trial for Murdoch. Well, that's still not a sure thing, but it's sure as hell the odds are getting better for a new trial. Hi, Emily. Happy Friday to you too. Hi, Derek. So, let's see here. Yeah, whatever's. And yes, folks, the Wheel of Regrets is at play. I have a new thing. An added point to the Wheel of Regrets. Nope. Sambuca. Oh, and before I forget, joining us is Hugo. Hugo is joining us today as well. Hugo, the ass-burning plant. It's a chili plant. Hi, Wolsend, saying, hey all, hope you're having a great day. I am having a great day. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But here is the hearing. Here is the hearing. And remember, folks, at the time of this hearing, Becky Boo had a vast following of people who said she's honesty itself. Honesty itself. Matt says, if you really want regrets, you should add Geyser Schnapps and Gammeldansk to the wheel. Yeah, I thought about when I went to the store to get some Gammeldansk, but yeah. Remember and drop this Boca in a beer. Shit. Nah. Well, pay me enough, and I might do it. So yeah, let's listen in to this infamous hearing where Becky Hill lied to the court under oath.
Do you swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hill. How are you?
I'm fine.
I want to get started, if you would, if you could state your full name for the record and spell it for the court reporter, please.
My name is Becky Hill, Last name Hill, Hill.
All right. And if you would, just give us, you're currently
Yes, her name is not Rebecca, and she's not called Becky. Her full name is Becky Hill.
the clerk of court for Colleton County. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And just very quickly, if you would, what year were you elected as clerk of court?
At the end of 2020.
At the end of 2020?
Yes.
And prior to that, did you have any involvement or experience with the state judicial system?
Yeah,
did.
she's
And could you
also
tell the court
short
what that
with
was?
perjury.
I was a South Carolina official court reporter for about 14 years.
And were you, in being an official court reporter, you would serve in the courtroom, which is Ms. Harris is here today. Is that correct?
That's
what was
correct.
your, and was that primarily in the 14th Circuit?
Hold on here. What's he? I keep prosecutor in. Creighton Waters, Mr. Waters. Also a person who defended Miss Hill to the teeth. Crayon. Painting with crayon Waters. You assholery. Do you have you had any comment? Let's see here. Creighton Waters. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. No, no. He has been very, very quiet about this new thing. Wonder why?
Which is Ms. Harris is here today. Is that correct?
That's
what was your, and was that primarily in the 14th Circuit?
It was primarily in the 14th Circuit. However, I did travel throughout the state.
Did you have any other experience in professional experience prior to becoming a court reporter or clerk of court?
I was a court reporter freelance for 2 years before that.
Okay. And then any other professional pursuits you've had over the course of your career?
I was able to be a middle school teacher, and I worked for the Board of Disabilities for a few years as well.
Let me go ahead and just kind of get straight to it. In your capacity as clerk of court and in your previous experience being a court reporter, were you familiar with the rules that apply to court staff as it comes to interactions with jurors in the course of a criminal trial or a civil trial for that matter?
Yes.
All right. And could you tell the court generally what those rules are as far as what contact is permissible and what contact is not permissible, just very quickly?
The judge gives the law and gives the instructions for a jury, and the attorneys will state their opening statements, their closing arguments, and basically the clerk of court and anyone else, court reporter, we're there to, my understanding would be to make sure that everyone's taken care of. Do you need some Kleenex? Do you need some water? Different things like that, just to make sure that they're taken care of.
Is it common for clerks of court to have interaction with jurors during the course of a trial to see to those various logistical needs that you just described?
Yes,
And did that happen in the Murdoch case?
it did.
Logistical needs, as in getting them in touch with the press. Remember, the very next morning after the verdict, she and a few jurors were at the Good Morning America show. Yeah, she facilitated a lot of things, including more or less a press tour about the book she was about to write, which we found out had been in the works since before the trial started. It was, Becky, no! Derek, yeah, she took one of the jurors back to her house for dinner. I haven't... Yeah. There's so much crap she did in that trial, before, during, and after.
And can you give us an example of some of the logistical things that you or other things that you would see to deal with any needs that the jurors may have? I mean, did you provide them food, coffee, make sure they were comfortable, things like that?
Yes, all of that.
Provide blankets for them if they were cold?
Our courtroom was very cold in Colleton County, yes.
Did you provide them with aspirin or Tylenol if they needed, make sure coffee and snacks were available?
Yes,
Did you take lunch orders for them so that they were fed each day?
yes.
At any time, did you interact with any juror in an attempt to influence their view of the facts in the State v. Murdoch case?
No,
All right, now I want to ask you some specifics about that and some allegations that have been raised. At any time, did you tell the jury not to be fooled by evidence presented by Mr. Murdoch's attorneys?
I did not.
At any time, did you instruct the jury to watch him closely and look at his actions?
I did not.
At any time, did you instruct the jury or tell the jury to look at his movements?
No,
At any time, as the jury moved to deliberate, did you tell the jury this shouldn't take long?
no,
At any time, did you tell the jury that the defense case, watch out for the defense case, they're going to try to throw you off, or anything along those lines that was meant to influence the jurors against Mr. Murdoch?
no.
Let me ask you if you ever made any comment to the jurors about the fact that the defendant was going to testify. Did you have a conversation in the presence of the jurors prior to the defendant testifying about the fact that he was about to testify?
It wasn't directly related to the jurors. I was talking to Mr. Bill, who was our bailiff foreman, our bailiff over the jury, and I was talking to him about that.
All right. And what did you say?
Really? 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 Matt, won't Judge Toll have to reconsider all Becky's testimony if and when she is convicted of perjury? Only if an appeal is done. Now, this has already been up to the local Supreme Court and no new trial. But with these charges, yeah, I assume they will ask the Supreme Court to reconsider. As Wendy said, well, of course she's going to deny all those bad things she's been accused of. Yeah. And yeah, she was talking in front of the jury. Yeah, here's the thing. When I covered this back in the day, there's case law about what warrants this kind of misconduct. And according to statute, court security was saying something bad in passing about the defendant, and that in itself warranted a new trial. That is how hard the statutes regarding this misconduct with juries is. But there's their appellate court and Supreme Court. Yeah, but she's one of us, so we won't do anything. Well, don't you look like a good bunch of twats right now? Just because you hate Alec Murdoch because of all the crap he did, all the money he stole from everybody, that does not excuse the removal of fair trial. Even if Alec Murdoch is guilty on 99 out of 100 charges, you can't convict him of the last one just because you don't like him. You can't perjure yourself in a hearing because of that to get him to stay in prison for the murder of his wife and son. That does not mean you can influence the jurors. No. Because I've said this so many times. If you deny the rights to the worst of them, like Alec Murdoch, you are denying it as well for the people you believe are innocent. It really is that simple.
So,
I told him what I had just come from downstairs telling my security and bailiff office, that Judge Newman had allowed more testimony in regarding the financials, and that also the defendant had decided that he may testify.
all right. And where were the jurors at the point that that conversation occurred?
There were a few jurors standing in line, and there were some in the bathroom, I'm sure, because they said they were waiting on jurors to get out of the bathroom. And there were some in the jury room just milling around from what I could see, looking down the hallway.
And again, what were the words that you said during that conversation? What were the effect of them?
To Mr. Bill.
Yeah. And what did you say?
I told him that that Judge Newman was allowing more of the financial evidence in.
Yeah, Judge Newman. Also, oh, he's so well liked. He is so fair. He is so impartial. No, he was not. Now, that asshole has not since retired, I believe. Oh. Let's see here. Yeah, he retired in December of 2023. Right after the trial. Yes, Derek, he retired straight after the trial. Straight after. Now, that does not, because I believe in South Carolina, judges are forced to retire at a certain age. So you might have had that age restriction. So not sure. But again, if they knew he was going to retire because of age restriction, why would they allow him to run that trial? Because if he was if they knew he was going to retire right after the trial, then zero accountability comes to him. And allowing all of that economic things, just no. Yeah, we know he's an asshole, Mr. Murdoch. We know he's a lowlife. But you have to prove murder. Not that he is a financial scumbag.
Which would prolong the testimony in the trial a little bit. And also that the defendant had decided that he was going to testify.
Did you say anything about this being an important day? Pay attention. We'll get coffee for you. Things like that.
I usually give a little pep talk to the jurors. It's sometimes hard sitting a long time, but my usual, and I do remember saying, pay attention. It's a big day today. Whatever you need, let Mr. Bill know, or one of the other bailiffs, and they'll be glad to get it for you.
Did your comments, or were your comments in any way phrased in favor of one side or against another side, or were they more of a neutral comment about paying attention?
No, it was not for one side or the other.
Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit.
Were you present when the jury went to the Moselle property to conduct the jury view?
I was.
All right. And was Judge Newman there as well?
He was.
During the time that you were on the property, traveling there, traveling back, did you have any conversation with the jurors where you made any comment about the substance of any testimony or any comment about the merits or the strength of the case?
No.
Did you have a quick comment to the forelady about how the property was beautiful and there were tea olive trees there that bloom and smell good, or words to that effect?
I did.
All right. And was there any other conversation related that you had where you made any comment about the case or the merits or anything like that?
Oh, no.
Now, as of now, we don't really know exactly what phrases Mrs. Hill is charged for perjury of. So I'm going to just assume it's all of them. Why? Shit in, shit out. If you lie in the small, you lie in the big.
During the course of this trial, did you have a bailiff employee whose primary job it was to see to the jury and their security and keep them separate from everyone else that was involved in this trial?
I did.
And who was that?
Mr. Bill Polk.
All right. And he was ultimately the jury coordinator in this particular case?
That's correct.
During the course of the deliberations, once the jury went back there, did you have any contact with the juries or have any substantive discussion with them?
Not at all.
Did you have any discussion with them about logistics, about staying in a hotel or anything like that?
I did not.
Did you have any interaction with the jurors or anything to do with them having smoke breaks or anything like that?
I did not.
During the course of the trial, did you have any discussion or interaction?
Becky Hill was trying to cash in on this trial. And she did write a book. Well, she didn't write a book. She got a co-writer, and then she plagiarized a good portion of a book. Why was she talking about what was going on with the trial? Yeah. Because she wanted to make money. This was her retirement fund that she was doing. So she wrote this book, and I've read portions of it. It's so bad. Neither she or her co-writer, whatever, I don't remember his name, none of them can write. It's absolutely horrific writing. The only portion that is decent to read is the part they plagiarized, that neither of them wrote.
With the jurors about them giving any interviews to the media or making themselves available to the media? I'm asking during the course of the trial itself.
No, not during the course of the trial.
After the verdict had been reached and the case was in sentencing, did you have any conversation with any jurors at that time after they had already entered their verdict and been individually polled?
Yes, after the sentencing.
All right, and tell the court what that interaction was at that time.
There were several outlets, news outlets, that wanted to interview the jury as a whole and really wanted to get them up to New York. And so I was trying to get a hold of all the jurors to talk about that. That was something we had not prepared for.
Good morning,
Did you at all
America
pressure the
show,
jurors to
where
speak, or did you just tell them that it was their option to speak or not, and here's the contact information?
I did not pressure the jury to speak. No,
Did you advise them that it was their decision and their decision alone whether or not they wish to speak to the media?
it was totally their decision.
And did you advise them of that?
Yes, yes.
It's your decision, but you can make money from it. And I want to make money from it. Didn't you, Miss Hill? Didn't you? Try it. Yeah. Folks, the justice system will survive bad defense attorneys. The justice system will survive bad witnesses. The justice system is solid from outside interference when it comes to witnesses and stuff like that. Media pressure is relatively secure. What is not safe from is rot on the inside. That, Miss Becky Hill here, that's rot on the inside of the justice system. And I'm very, very happy that even if it's over a year later, that they took it seriously in South Carolina. Her misconduct in the trial and the perjury in this hearing. This hearing was a few months after the verdict, I believe.
I'm going to ask it again, but I just want to be sure. At any time, did you make any comment to any juror or in the presence of any juror in which you at all tried to influence them in favor of one side or against another?
I did not.
Did you understand,
Bullshit.
being a longtime court employee and clerk of court, that that is outside the boundaries of what is appropriate interactions with the jurors during the course of the trial?
Absolutely.
And did at any time did
Bullshit.
you violate that rule that you understood?
I did not.
Of course,
Yes, you
don't.
did. All right, time for the... Oh, and the vitriol Dick Harpootlian received for going after our dear Becky Boo, the absolute vitriol online against Dick Harpootlian. The same people who did that are now very, very quiet. Isn't that strange? Their support of Miss Hill gone. Their
Nothing further this time, Your Honor.
I checked in on a few accounts that I remember was very, very pro Becky Hill. Some of them have erased their old tweets. They don't want to be a part of that anymore because now I only deleted a handful of tweets throughout the years, and mainly it's because really, really bad grammar and spelling. I had to rewrite it, or I was fundamentally wrong. And also when I did, when I was the few times I am that, I explain it in tweets as well. I have erased this message because this, and that. These people just silently removed all their support. Months and months of tweets of support gone.
Please, court, Your Honor.
Mr. Harpootlian.
Hi, Gigi.
On cross-examination.
Ms. Hill, we spent 6 weeks together, didn't we?
We did.
And during those 6 weeks, you were helpful to me as you could be, correct?
I was.
Accommodated just about every request I made.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Wait.
Hey, Dark Lotus. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Where were we? Oh, yeah, we're old friends.
I want to make sure you can be heard. That was the microphone that was supposed to, you're fine where you are. Absolutely fine.
Yes, ma'am. It was a stage microphone that was obscuring my ability to question a witness.
Yeah. Well, what I'm wondering is whether you can be heard without a microphone. Do we need to try to get a microphone
I
up on
can
this
hold this
podium?
mic over if necessary.
Yeah, that would be good. All right.
I don't know who's supposed to hear this other than you, but I assume they can hear us. Co-reporter, I'm sorry. She's more important, not as important as you.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, yeah, we're old friends, right? We spent 6 weeks together in a very pressure-filled situation, correct?
It was a long 6 weeks.
It was a long 6 weeks. And during those 6 weeks, you were helpful to me in a number of different ways. Accommodating friends that I had that wanted to come watch the trial, for instance, correct?
That's correct.
You even allowed me to use the private restroom down on the first floor so I didn't have to stand in line with the rest of the people, trying to get breaks, correct?
Correct.
So we have no animosity towards each other. You didn't do something to me, and I didn't do something to you during that trial, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, given that, I'm going to ask you some questions today that may indicate to you that I have some antagonism towards you. Let me disabuse you of that. I'm here doing a job representing my client, and you've been around the court system for decades, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you understand what we're doing here today.
Yes.
Now, let me understand a couple of things. I think, and I've read your book, some editions of your book. There's several. We got a bunch of emails in which you have drafts that you forwarded to your co-author, correct?
Your Honor, objection. I believe I would object to relevance. I believe any drafts you sent to a co-author with the book is beyond the scope of this inquiry here today.
Overruled. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. And in those drafts,
That book
you
is
say
crucial.
certain things about the trial,
Crucial, I say.
about the process, which you later did not
Nice
include in
foreshadowing. Yeah.
the final version. It's called editing. Is that correct?
I would agree with that.
Okay. Now, let's talk about this book for just a second. When did you first decide you were going to write a book?
I think a thought was there, a very fleeting thought before the trial.
Did you take any steps before the trial or at the initiation of the trial to begin writing this book or working with somebody on this book?
Oh, no, sir.
When did you and your co-author get together?
It was several weeks after the trial.
Okay. Did you talk to anybody about the fact you were going to write a book before the trial?
There were several anchors and several journalists that I did speak with about the possibility of writing a book.
Oh, really? Really? Did you? Yeah,
So
we know you
disorganized, I
did.
apologize.
We know you
Um,
did.
Did you seek assistance in this trial from other clerks of court?
Yes, sir, I did.
And who were they?
Rhonda McElveen, who is the Barnwell County Clerk of Court, and Renee Elvis from the Horry County Clerk of Court.
Derek, was her book not finished during the trial? Yeah, well, it was published about, I believe it was published in August, which was 4 or 5 months after the trial. But yeah, I would assume that most of her book was already written before, during, and just after the trial. And then the rest was just editing. It didn't help the book. It's still shit. But yeah. And one thing, this is how secure she felt as a member of the Good Old Boys Club. In that book, she describes sort of how corrupt she is. But she was so sure that she would be protected. Yeah, as Derek says, she just needed the guilty verdict for the end. Hi, Half Irish. Hey, Half Irish is here. Hey-oh.
And were they there with you the entire 6 weeks?
No,
I mean, how long were they there? Or how often were they there?
Rhonda McElveen was there as often as she could be, probably several times a week. Renee Elvis helped me during the jury selection.
Thank
Yeah, clerk of court is not eligible for
And
Any
she
type
began,
of-
that is, Ms. McElveen, did she begin working with you prior to jury selection?
Can you repeat that question?
We began jury selection, I think, on January 23rd, correct?
Correct.
Was she working with you or consulting with you prior to the 23rd?
No, sir.
Did you have any conversation with her about the trial?
Not until she got to the trial on what, I can't remember the exact day she came.
Okay. Now, is she a friend of yours?
She was a friend, yes.
Was.
Well, she is a friend,
Okay.
yes.
But she's done nothing to make you any less a friend.
No, sir.
Now, did you tell her about the time of the trial that you were going to write a book? That you had thought about and were going to write a book?
I can't remember exactly. I think we did have a conversation about a book possibly in the future.
And did you tell her you're going to write a book because you thought it would make a lot of money?
Oh, no, sir.
You never said that.
No, sir.
And did you tell her that you were going to write a book to make a bunch of money so you could buy a lake lot and build a house on it?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, did you ever tell her that you had given a juror a ride home, that you had accompanied Mr. Bill, what's his last name?
Bill Polk.
Right. That you and he took a juror home one night? Did you tell her that? Did you take a juror home one night?
I didn't take a juror home one night.
Did
No,
Mr.
sir.
Polk and you take a juror home one night?
No, sir. We
Okay, you
didn't.
never gave a juror a ride in a car with Mr. Polk or without?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, also, during the trial, your daughter ended up on the Venari, is that right?
She did.
And she was coming up, and did you talk to me and Mr. Waters about putting her on the jury if at all possible?
I'm not sure that we wanted her to be on the jury if at all possible, but I think the question was, would she make a good juror? And I said she sure would.
Now, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, Derek, £5 super sticker. Thank you. And it is a puppy applauding. Thank you so much. And Snivels gifted 20 memberships. 20 went to Graham, Squinting Cat, Brooklyn, Spence, Becky, Thomas Rhodes, Com Tennessee Girl, Elaine, Sarah, Lena, Emily, Miss Garbage Brain, Southern Mom, Heavy Metal Rehab, Vicky Hat, Tammy, Mel, Sinbad. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. 20 times 3 is 60. All right. We are at the first spin of the Wheel of Regrets. Dun 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 dun. Oh shit. All right. We are premiering the new addition to the Wheel of Regrets. Sambuca. Oh, this will be interesting. Dun dun dun. Friday, Sambuca. Ooh. That was nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Snivels and Derek. Thank you so much. Whew. High choice. And we are already $15 into the next spin on the wheel. And $18 into the next spin of the wheel. Thank you to Brooklyn for gifting a membership to Tracy. Everybody who got a membership, say thank you to Brooklyn and to Snivels for 20 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Let's get back to the lying liar who lies.
We asked you. I think you told us you would make a great juror. Did you not?
I remember you asking.
Okay. Okay. I was considering putting your daughter on the jury.
Yes, sir.
And who does she work for?
She works for Compass South.
Did she work for the sheriff's department at some point?
No, sir.
Okay. Did she work in law enforcement at all?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. How many jury rooms were there?
We have 2 jury rooms in Colleton.
In this trial, how many jury rooms did you have? How
2.
many? Okay, so the entire jury wasn't together at any one time. They were separated into 2 rooms?
Yes.
Okay. And when they're separated into 2 jury rooms like that, are they next door to each other? Are they down the hall from each other?
They are next door to each other.
Okay. So, but if you close the door to one Can they hear what's going on in the other one?
Some women probably have very good hearing, and men too, but I would say probably not.
Okay. Are there restrooms in both of the jury's rooms?
Now that we know was a lie because that has been attested to via affidavits that they actually heard what was going on, especially about that. I believe it was the jury foreperson who Becky Hill, went into the bathroom with on occasion for private conversations. Yeah.
There are.
Okay. Are there two restrooms or just one?
There's one restroom in each jury room.
Okay. Were either one of those restrooms designated men and women, or did everybody use the same one?
They were unisex.
They were unisex. Okay. Now, prior to your testimony here today, have you met with the Attorney General's office in SLED?
I have.
On how many occasions?
I want to say twice.
Okay. And remember when the first time was?
I think the first time was in September.
Okay. And the second time was last week?
Yes, sir.
And that was in Walterboro?
Yes, right.
And you all spent about 4.5 hours together?
I want to say maybe 2
Uh-huh.
hours together.
Okay. And in those
For
2
being
hours, you went
here.
over your testimony here today?
They asked me questions.
Did they ever correct your answers or suggest you answer differently?
Oh, no.
No.
Oh,
So
no.
you just went through what you went through in 20 minutes here. It took 2
no,
hours to
she
go
told
through
all
when you
of
were with
them
that.
to not believe anything that Murdoch says.
There were times when I would step out of the room and come back in.
Now, this is interesting. Sorry. Because Becky Hill told a bunch of jurors to not believe anything that Murdoch says. And then they were brought, we will see this later on. Is it in this hearing? I don't recall. But they've asked a bunch of jurors, was it at the trial? I don't remember. But they swore they heard nothing. And by that, we know a bunch of the jurors lied as well.
But I would say we were there for about 2 hours.
Now, you have described in your book your role in Switzerland. Is that correct?
Pinkslime just says, just give the man a new trial and convict him even harder than the last time. Convict him on the evidence of the murder. The financial stuff, throw it out and you have a 3-day trial. And if the evidence is good enough, then yeah, convict him. Is this the original case? This is scary. Yeah, this is the hearing of Becky Hill when after her book was released and everything. And she's on the stand lying. Now, do I know exactly when she is lying? No. And that's that. If you don't know exactly when a person is lying, you have to assume they are always lying. Because look at her on the stand. She does it effortlessly. Effortlessly. Now, if there is a new Murdoch trial, will I cover it? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yes. Hell yeah, I would. Definitely. I love a short trial.
Correct.
Okay. And that is that you should not be in any way opinionated about what's going on in the trial. Is that correct?
That's true.
Okay. Yet in your book, you indicated a number of different points during the trial. You had concluded he was guilty. Is that correct?
I think
Your Honor, I take this point. I don't know if her conclusions in the book are in any way relevant to what occurred during the trial and whether or not there was any communications with the jurors, which is the sole issue that we're here for today, is whether or not Ms. Hill had any extraneous influence on the jurors. And so I think this is going a little far to we object to the relevance, Your Honor.
Let me give you an example. You indicate.
Yeah, I like this judge in that she wants all the facts in. I do believe that she eventually she decided that there was not enough evidence, but so she punted it up to the next level of courts. That, I believe, is cowardice, because this judge, she knew, but she was too afraid to make the decision, the correct decision.
Riding back from Moselle, that you and 3 other people were in a car, and you all decided adamantly, I think was the word you used, that he was guilty, that he had killed his wife and son. Is that what you put in the book?
I can't remember if I put that in the book, but if you say I did, then I will
Did
agree
that
with
happen?
you. We did have a conversation about what each of us thought,
And all 4 agreed that he was guilty, correct?
and none of us were jurors.
No, trust me, I know that. But you had an abiding conviction, at least by the time of the Moselle visit, that he was guilty. And the other people in the car with you were bailiffs, were they not?
No.
Who were they?
Some were not bailiffs. One was a court reporter. One was our security officer, head security, and another was a deputy sheriff.
Okay. But the 4 of y'all rode out there, and based on what, and I mean, I can, you want me to read to you how chilled you were and how you felt that poor Paul and Maggie been executed by him on that scene, that visiting the scene convinced you that he was a horrible, horrible murderer? You want me to read that to you, or you will concede that's what you wrote?
I will concede that's what I wrote, but if I may, I would say that a lot of that is poetic license in writing a book and in making it sound like that.
Okay, so some of it's poetic license, and some of it you just stole. You purloined it from that BBC writer, right?
Right, again, I object to not only the relevance, but the scope of cross. I would object also under Rule 608. I don't believe that's appropriate cross-examination.
Overruled. You may continue, Mr. Harpootlian.
Did you steal part of the book?
I did plagiarize,
Okay,
Mr.
that's
Hartfield.
stealing, isn't it?
And it is, and for
Okay.
that, I'm very sorry, and I have apologized.
Okay. And that makes it okay?
What I did, and I apologized for that.
And part of the book is, you say, literary license, exaggeration?
I wouldn't call it exaggeration.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. In Switzerland, and this is, you're saying this is happening while you're supposed to be Switzerland, you decided the defendant's guilty. And if Ms. McElmeen says that it's going to make you more money if you found guilty, don't you think it's reasonable to assume that you may have crossed the line from time to time?
Your Honor, I object to the form of the question, assuming facts are not in evidence.
Overruled.
Can you repeat that question one more time,
I'm
Mr.
not going to repeat
Hartfield?
it. Let me just move on to something else. Let me ask you, you had interactions with some jurors, and I believe in a conference in judges' chambers, you indicated that you had seen a post on, is it Walterboro Word of Mouth?
Oh, this thing, yeah. Oh, now now it gets back to me. She claimed to Judge Newman that not she, but an employee saw a post that they claimed was a juror's ex-husband. Problem is, the ex-husband said he never wrote that. And they never presented an actual screenshot of the message. Nothing. And Judge Newman still found reason to exclude that juror from deliberating. Oh, hi, Dolly. Almost paid $150 for an autographed copy of Becky's book. Ooh, Dolly is awake. I'm inviting Dolly. Dolly, you have an invitation.
Your Honor, again, I object. I think he's delving now into the Facebook inquiry. We believe, again, that that's irrelevant to the inquiry for Your Honor.
I will allow a limited, as I understand it, trying to impeach her testimony and explore her credibility. And I think I've already told Mr. Harpootlian that I don't want a whole trial about the business of Facebook and the egg juror, but I will allow limited examination on this point. You may proceed, Mr. Harpootlian.
Am I oversimplifying that? I mean, it's in your book. You saw something on Walterboro Word of Mouth, which appeared to you to be from the ex-husband of one of your jurors. Is that correct? Am I oversimplifying that?
I remember reading one night something on Walterboro word of mouth. And when I was in the courtroom on a Monday morning, listening to the judge and the attorneys talking about a matter, it sounded like it was relevant to each other.
Okay. And you became aware somehow that this juror had a restraining order out for her ex-husband?
She told me that herself.
Okay. And tell me how it came for her to tell you about that. Where did she tell you?
She was very talkative, and when I was instructed by Judge Newman to go and get her from out of the jury room with a deputy following me, she was talking to me all the way back to the judge's chambers, and she mentioned that there were restraining orders out when they had divorced.
So how did the judge, who brought it to the judge's attention about this Walterboro word of mouth thing?
I let the judge know, thinking that it could be related,
Okay. And you let the judge know what?
that I had read something on Walterboro word of mouth.
Oh, she,
And that
okay, so
you-
she claims she,
Knew it was
Read
tied
it.
to that juror?
I didn't know that it was. I wasn't sure at all.
Who do you think it was tied to?
From what
yeah, also I remember that even the supposed date of that post was wrong. Yeah, as Derek says, it was a different guy altogether. Once they looked into it, it had nothing to do with that juror. And they never screenshotted it. No, nothing. I mean, there was a screenshot. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, whatever I said earlier, because my recollection comes back to me as this goes along, and you guys in the chat are amazing because you remind me. Yeah, there was a screenshot, and it wasn't her ex-husband.
y'all were talking about at the bench, I felt like I needed to let him know, just in case it was related. There was something about an ex-husband and an ex-wife and somebody being on the jury.
You didn't tell the judge that you had found what we call the apology post? You didn't tell the judge that?
I didn't call it that, no.
You don't remember producing it, saying that producing it to the judge, saying this is a post in which the guy that posted it on Friday
Verbal,
night says the devil got in
even
him and
autographed is not
drinking,
worth
and he apologized for what he posted.
$500.
You didn't produce that?
My staff did, one of my staff
But
did.
you gave that to the judge and gave it to us, did you not?
Yes, we did,
As if it were from that juror's ex-husband, correct?
correct.
And you know it wasn't.
I don't know that, Mr. Hartbulian, no.
Yes, you
So-
do.
And you did not take that juror out and talk to her before you took her to the judge? Is that true?
I never talked to that juror about stuff like that.
Okay. Did you ever talk to the forelady of the jury, separate from the jury?
I did.
Okay. And tell us, where did that occur?
When I would go into the jury room and I would speak with the forelady, we would be in like the hallway in the two jury rooms were side by side.
Why the flaming fuck would you talk separately to the foreperson? This pisses me off so much as a clerk of court. Scheduling, getting water and maybe candy. That's it. Talking separately to the foreperson, that's not your job. You represented yourself as the voice of Judge Newman to the jury. Judge Newman never told you to do that because it's not in your job description.
And the opening to the jury room went out into the hallway, and we would be surrounded by the jurors at all times. Mr. Bill would be very, very nearby, or another bailiff as well, when we would speak.
And what did you speak to her about?
There were several instances. One was there was a juror who needed some feminine products. There was another time when Band-Aids were needed. There were times when Tylenol would be needed.
Other than items that were needed by the jury's health object, did she ever discuss with you some issues jurors had emotionally or some issues with dissension in the jury room?
She only told me that there were some loud jurors, and it made some of the other jurors a little upset. But other than that,
What did you tell her to do?
I told her if it got out of hand to write a note to the judge and that she could sign the note and get Mr. Bill to give it to the judge, and the judge would handle that for her.
This is funny here. Pink Slime says, I distrust all signed copies because my friend in high school used to take all my books and autograph them as the author. Every book I lent came back. People were like, it was signed, so I knew you wanted it back. That's a great trick. That's a really great trick to getting back books you lent out. I stopped lending out my books 30 years ago because the books I lent to a friend was the first edition, Lord of the Rings Swedish edition. Never got it back. Now, the Swedish edition, the first edition, is I've since read it in English, and whoever translated that book into Swedish is a fucking moron, because it was so bad. Absolutely horrifically badly translated. But I would still want that back.
Okay. Now, you did publish a book after this trial, is that correct?
We did.
And you went to New York and took some of the jurors to the Today Show.
The Today Show did invite us, yes.
Now, one of those jurors that went up there with you, the day of the verdict, wore, for the first time I can remember, wore a suit to court. Do you remember that?
That's not unusual. Yeah, looking into it as a separate trial, jurors dressing up for when they know there's a verdict. Yeah, when they haven't before, yeah, it kind of looks weird. But since for the past 2.5 years I've been doing this, that's quite common that some jurors decide to dress up. Even if, no matter guilty, not guilty. So it's actually not that unusual.
Your Honor, again, I would object to discussion of the jurors wearing a suit or a post-trial trip to the Today Show. I don't believe there's any connection to the inquiry that's focused for Your Honor, and that is whether or not there was any extraneous influence during the course of the trial.
I'm going to connect it, Your Honor. I believe.
All right, overruled. May continue, Mr. Harper.
Did you text, email, or communicate on the morning before final arguments were completed that to people that this was on a Thursday, that they probably, if they're going to see the trial, should come on that Thursday because it'd be over by the next day? The jury would not be out very long. Did you ever communicate that? Email, text, or verbally?
I do remember saying that, yes.
And why did you think the jury would not be out very long? Had you communicated with jurors?
I had not communicated with jurors about anything related to this trial at all.
Liar!
I've been a court reporter for at least 14 years. I was clerk of court for 3. And you just get...
How many of those did you try to influence the jury? Because now we know that you did. Well, allegedly. Now, according to all the facts that I currently remember, you did that extensively in this trial. So if you worked within the court system for 14 years before this, how many trials have you influenced during that time? And since we don't know, I will assume all of them.
to where you kind of see things happen as they progress, and it's a guess, it's a gut feeling, and that's all that I meant by that.
Well, why are you telling this young man who wanted passes for the next day in an email, it won't be happening tomorrow? That was or did you say, you didn't say, I don't think, you just said, you better come today if you're coming. Remember doing that?
I don't remember that. But, if he wanted to come, I knew that the trial would be ending shortly as far as testimony. So if he wanted to come, he needed to come.
Why wouldn't the jury have been out a week on a 6-week trial?
They could have.
But
They could have.
you apparently were telling the press and others that there'd be a quick verdict. Were you not?
That was just a gut feeling that I had.
Okay.
And that was my opinion.
Your opinion, you were right. The jury was out 3 hours on a 6-week trial, correct?
That's true.
How much money did you make off that book?
There was not a whole lot of money made off of the book after paying different things. And
Aw, oh no, Miss Hill. It wasn't a smash hit. It never reached the New York bestsellers list. Oh no, Miss Hill, you did all of that for nothing. You never made $1. Now your co-writer claims they made, what was it, 50 grand? But it was pulled for plagiarism, which means that every cent of that book should go to the person you plagiarized. I don't know if that happened.
Paying for some expenses that went along with that. But I want to say roughly around 100,000.
Okay.
Which you had
That's not
to
a lot of
share
money.
with the co-author.
No, especially when you publish your own book
But that was 100,000 you made.
with my co-author.
Yeah.
Okay. In what period of time? 6 months?
I would say 6 months, yes.
When was the book published?
August 1st.
Okay. Trial was over. That's 6 months after the trial's over, you published a book, correct?
Correct.
And then I believe you recently stopped selling the book because of the plagiarism you've admitted to, correct?
Correct.
And so there's no more money?
Correct.
You also indicate in the book that the Murdaws had a reputation of criminality, I think is kind of what you put. Did you not?
Well, Mr. Hartpooley and my grandfather and Old Man Buster were very close.
Well, were they criminals?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know, but
Old Boys Club. She is a generational old boys club. She really, really thought she was safe. And here you are, a year and a half later, charged with misconduct in the trial and perjury in this hearing.
you believed and you published that the Murdaugh family had run that part of the state and they'd participated in criminal conduct, correct?
Your Honor, again, I would object to general testimony about the alleged criminality of this family. I'm not sure how that has any bearing on the focused inquiry before the court.
He's asking about what she said in the book. I'm going to allow it.
Yes, sir. Did you say that in the book, that they were criminals?
In the book, that was more of the literary ease that we take, I think, to make a story a little more interesting for the reader.
By calling people criminals? I guess what I'm saying is this. Were they criminals?
Your Honor, again, I would object to that particular question.
Overruled.
Were they criminals?
I wouldn't know that.
Okay, so you either made it up or you're lying about it? About the reputation of people that can't defend themselves? They're dead? You're going to call them criminals? You did that in the book so you could sell a book?
No, I didn't do that to sell a book.
What'd you do it for? Made it more readable, you said? Which sells books.
Literary ease. Yeah.
What?
Literary.
Literary what?
The literary ease that you can take with when writing a book.
Literary ease you can take with writing a book. You can make stuff up. You can lie. You can lie about people.
Not with that. I think the public perception was one that it was very interesting during this time.
So you're
And-
feeding the monster out there that wants to believe bad things about the Murdaughs, and you'll make stuff up to do it. Let me give you another example. I read your book and I found this somewhat humorous. My co-counsel did not. In describing myself and Mr. Griffin, in the book you say that I neutered him. We've both been very interested in what you meant by that. What do you mean by neutering Jim Griffin?
Mr. Hartpoolian, it was a book.
Did you make it up? I know it was a book. The
Right.
Bible's a book. Just because it's a book doesn't mean you can lie in it.
It's just a word that was used.
Nature of that, Strange.
Don't argue with the witness, but the witness, Ms. Hill, you're instructed to answer his questions. You may proceed, Mr. Hartpoolian.
So let me get this straight. The book, and I'll see if I can cut to the chase on this. I can read you chapter after chapter, verse after verse, which is not true. Okay, not true based on my experience of being in a courtroom, and not true based on knowing some of the people you described. You say that is.
Mr. Hartpoolian.
I object. The counsel's just testifying right now as to his observations about the book.
Question, Mr. Hartpoolian, please.
You conceded there are things in the book that you don't know to be true, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You would concede then that you have lied in the book.
It's only because I wasn't there at the time. I can't interview my dead grandfather. I can't interview Mr. Buster. There's just things that we can't interview them on. We can go by what was written in a newspaper and get facts from that.
And take the inference that one of the Murdaughs was a pedophile. You could have printed that, and they're not here to contradict it. You could have printed anything you wanted and made it up to sell books. That's what this whole scheme was about, selling books. As you told Rhonda McElveen, if him being found guilty would sell more books.
Your Honor,
Isn't that true?
I'd object to the argumentative nature of the question, the compound question, and assuming facts on
It is a
evidence.
compound question. If what you're asking is what she told Ms. McElveen, go on and ask that, but don't precede it with
Yes, Your Honor.
testimony.
Beg the court's indulgence for just a moment.
Oh, Becky, she made shit up in her book, and it was still unreadable. She did talk to jurors and then try to lie about it. I mean, as I said earlier, the justice system survives basically everything except rot from the inside. And Becky Hill is rot on the inside.
Write your book about a juror that his ex-husband had posted something we now know probably wasn't her ex-husband. Did she have any other ex-husbands that you found out about?
I have no idea.
Well, you wrote, we learned later the ex-spouses hadn't seen each other in 14 years and she had 3 restraining orders against him. Did she have 3 restraining orders against him?
I don't know. That's what she said.
Okay.
Hey, Sasha. Oh, we have a 19-year-old in the chat. I am currently drinking, it's called Obolon. It is a Ukrainian beer. It is kind of a lager beer. And you are drinking Corona. Hey. Oh, Hella is half asleep.
Go over a couple things. Did you tell jurors at the end of the trial after President's Day break? President's Day break would have been a Monday, correct?
Correct.
But before Mr. Murdaugh testified, did you tell the jury not to be fooled by the evidence presented by Mr. Murdaugh's lawyers?
Mr. Harpootlian, I never talked to the jurors about any of the evidence
If the
in this
answer would
case.
be yes or no, then you can explain. Did you say that?
No.
Okay. Did you ever instruct the jury to watch him closely immediately before he testified, looking at his actions, looking at his movements? Did you ever tell the jury to do that?
No.
Did you ever tell the jury to pay attention to Mr. Murdaugh's testimony?
To pay attention, not specifically to his testimony. I did tell the jury to pay attention,
To what?
just generally.
You are not the judge, Miss Becky. The only person in a courtroom that is allowed to instruct a jury is the judge. And you here tell the world you instructed the jury.
In the hallway when I was speaking.
Not to him,
No,
just any witness.
right.
Okay. Did you ever warn the jurors the defense is about to do their side? This is right before, right at the beginning of the defense case. They're going to say things that will try to confuse you. Don't let them confuse you or convince you or throw you off. Did you ever tell the jury that?
Yeah. Did you ever tell the jury that? Hi, Dave.
Hello.
How are you doing? Let's see. Can I find a... Nope, definitely not that one. Hey, how are you doing?
Good. My computer's being weird. I just fired it up and it's like really hot in here, so I feel like heat and computers don't go well together. So I just put the air conditioner and we should be good to go. Happy Friday,
Yeah.
mate.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Skål.
Skål.
Man, it's been a long week. And feels even longer because I didn't spend it with you this time. What have you been up to?
Your volume is kind of low.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
hang on a second. Let me fix something here.
Yeah. But we were all over this trial when it happened. I remember. And Becky Hill, her charges. And you who are a US-based attorney, how hard is it to get to a perjury charge?
Well, it's, by the way, how's my volume? Is it too loud now?
No, it's better. But
Okay.
for me, at least, I don't know how the chat reacts. How hard is it to get a perjury charge, especially if we are talking about a person of the old boys club?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult to get perjury charges. They're very rare. Usually for different reasons, though. Usually the perjury charges are rare because the person who would be bringing the perjury charge generally isn't interested in doing it, and that's the county prosecutor or the attorney general or whoever. But I think the fact that this was the prosecution of a former prosecutor and she was involved with it on sort of the wrong side. Remember, so Murdaugh was in the Good Old Boys network, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you went after him, you made some enemies.
Yeah.
Despite what all you want to say about his finances, I personally don't think there was enough evidence to find him guilty of the unaliving of his son and daughter, or not his son and daughter, his son and wife. But you made some enemies, and that's the problem here. It's good.
Yeah.
Volume. Okay, good. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. And but so you have a state senator, by the way, who is cross-examining you right now, right on the stand, and you've shook the snake basket a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
You tried to make some money off of it. You did it in a way where you kind of committed some defamation, a little bit, some slander, and
for those who don't know, I mean, in the U.S., you can you slander the dead?
You know, I was thinking about that when I was listening to this on my way over to the treehouse, and I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know if you can slander the dead. What you could, I know for sure what you could do, it'd be like if there's a celebrity with an estate and the estate still has like music license rights and things like that, and you do something, say something, it could be interference with the business relationship sort of thing. But I don't know if you can actually slander the dead. I just don't know.
Yeah. Over here in Sweden, you can be charged for slandering the dead because they can't defend themselves. So that is an extra point on defamation here in Sweden.
That logic doesn't make sense to me, because the ability to defend yourself is not the underlying damage, right? So if you're going to sue somebody, you have to show a duty to act a certain way.
But in Sweden, that's not civil. That's criminal.
Oh, well, it's civil here.
Yeah, so defamation in Sweden is a criminal matter. Not a
because
civil
you guys
matter.
don't have the First Amendment.
No, exactly. We don't have the First Amendment.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey.
Hi, Dolly.
How are you?
Do you still have that copy of her book?
I've not got it yet.
Wait, what? I thought you ordered it.
No, not yet. I was thinking about it.
I was like, you ordered it, and then they just, because of the whole plagiarism thing, you just never got it, but they didn't refund you your money. That's the story I was thinking in my mind. Let's go with that one. I like that one.
No, I'm trying to find like a used copy or like one that was signed on eBay.
That's right, because you didn't want to give her the money, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Not that I couldn't find it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they pulled the book really, really fast
What's the name
after
of
the
the book?
plagiarism thing.
Behind the Doors of Justice.
Behind the Doors of Justice. Yeah, that she can name her next book the same thing.
Yes.
Just that the story is kind of different. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
I mean-
can order one right now from the price range of $79 to
Mhm.
$2,500.
Yeah, the signed one is like 400 or 500.
I can get a paperback for $80.
Yeah, somebody got one recently for like 7, and I'm jealous.
Let me see if I could
You
find
should
it
have
on
ordered it
Facebook
before the
Marketplace.
charges was brought, because I
know.
think that hiked the price a bit.
Yeah, I should go back through and look at the price history. Let's see here. Facebook Marketplace. You can always find weird, obscure stuff. I put Behind the Doors of Justice, and I get a bunch of like front doors and door hinges on Facebook Marketplace. That's
the
quality.
Facebook Marketplace search thing is absolutely. It's like 1998 forum.
It's really
so bad.
So my son, did I tell you the adventures of my son with his motorcycle thing?
Yeah, you mentioned that he bought a motorcycle and went out driving it and then crashing it, all without a motorcycle driver's license.
Oh yeah, and against so he had a conversation with me. Hey, I want to buy a motorcycle. I say, no, they're dangerous. Not while you're living here, sort of thing, right? And so he goes and gets one anyways, keeps it at a storage unit, hides it from me, gets a loan to get it, and has it for a whole 5 days without a license, and then lays it down. Sends himself to the doctors. So I'm making him sell it, right? But we're listing it, and then we're pulling it down, and then we're listing it, and then we're doing this thing to try to sell it, so that we have enough to pay off this stupid loan that he got. And so I'm searching for the listing, and I'm getting all mad at him. I'm like, hey, it's not here. I don't see it in Marketplace. You said you posted it, and I'm yelling, not yelling at him, but I'm getting mad because I think he's lying to me again. But it was Facebook Marketplace. I searched literally the brand, and I put in the city, and it doesn't pop up. Yeah. Facebook Marketplace is absolutely horrible.
Now let's go back to Becky.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we've been watching the hearing, and with this new information, it gets different when you know she's charged with actual perjury, because we don't know what she said that is the charge, just that she's charged with perjury from this hearing. And
on other things.
Yeah, what is she actually being charged with? I was not at all paying attention to Hella's stream.
So, of course not. I don't.
Yeah,
I was on it, and I don't pay attention either.
She is charged with. Let's see here. Where did I found it? Obstructing justice and misconduct in Colton County, where the trial was, and perjury in Richland County, which is this hearing.
Yes.
Okay, to be fair, Hella, I see her in chat. I was supporting you. I was in chat. I think I even super chatted you. But I just wasn't in a position to have the volume up. I was at my son's band concert. And so even though I wasn't able to listen, I was super chatting you and chatting away and sharing the love.
Thank you.
So you suck, Hella.
Now here's the interesting thing. None of the charges have anything to do with interfering with the jury. Or
obstruction of justice.
Isn't that? Or was it for this particular hearing?
Well, the hearing was for this.
The hearing here is in Richland County under this judge. That's the perjury.
Yep.
Obstructing justice and misconduct is in Colton County, where the trial was
it was
handed.
In relation to how she handled funds and things like that.
Oh, really?
In her official duties.
It doesn't even have anything to do with her. Look at this woman. Look at her face. Look at this pause face.
Kind of cute.
I just want just give her a love tap across the cheek. It's okay. So here's the thing. Murdaugh was a travesty of justice. And I was listening to a stream that will go unnamed the other day, and they were reciting a hearing regarding judges. And one of the judges was testifying at a congressional hearing, saying that everything I do must be based in law. Whether the outcome is good or bad for a particular party, it must be based in law to preserve the integrity of the judicial system. Because if that's not preserved, then we have anarchy. And this woman right here is the biggest problem with the system. This type of woman, her too, but this type of person in the system is the biggest problem we have. That and bad jurors.
Do you want to know?
I mean, the Western judicial system is robust against outside interference. It is very vulnerable against inside rot. And she is inside rot.
And it's an insider's baseball game kind of thing, right? You don't see it unless you're in the system.
Yeah.
And there's very few things, even if you know about it and you're inside the system, there's very few things that you can actually do. You know, I've contacted court administrators about certain conducts of people. I've contacted chief judges about certain conducts of people. And you don't really see a change. Okay, it's noted. Well, you know, we'll drop him an email. Let her know this issue. Right? But you don't really see it. You know, you get an apology letter or something. And it's like, yeah, but you're not fixing the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was I was thinking something, but I lost my trail of thought because you interrupted me.
Sorry.
No worries.
I have the 3 things that she was charged for, or the reasoning.
Yeah.
One was because she was using her office to promote her book, Behind the Doors of Justice. The other was she leaked a sealed photograph to a third party, the media, of Murdaugh.
The
holding
picture in the holding cell.
And the
wait, that was her, the one where he had like his head shaved?
No. When it was still during the court proceeding during the trial.
Oh, okay.
And and releasing sealed evidence photos.
Yeah. But the perjury is from this one.
Perjury is from this hearing. She lied about, or she gave incomplete testimony. She claimed, did you allow anyone from the press to view the sealed exhibits? And Hill responded, no.
I mean, that's kind of weak.
Oh, yeah. But I think it was Old Light Red who said the Attorney General is running for governor.
Oh.
And he oversaw this whole thing. So it's basically political
so
calculation.
You have to bring charges because otherwise it comes back. Is that the same asshole who called her Becky Boo? His Becky Boo. Wasn't that the Attorney General? In the press conference, where's Becky? Where's my Becky Boo?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Huh.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So they are basically charging her with everything except the important thing, what she did in the court.
In that trial, yeah.
Contacting jurors, having private conversations with the jury foreman, and stuff like that. Speaking about 4-person, hi Hella.
Hello.
How are you?
Is the sun just rising over there?
Where you are?
It's just my light is too bright. Hang on. My light
Wait a minute.
is
You're
too
very
bright.
backlit.
I'm going to do this instead. While we are all here.
This is my second beer today.
I'll just turn it off.
Oh God, folks!
Bye.
Dave is about to call a court.
No Prosecco, though.
Oh.
Prosecco gets you a phone call.
Certainly got me one.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, let's put the trial watch over Salvador's face. It's perfect.
That's fair enough. I often put things over his face, like, pillows and stuff.
All right, so Dolly's doing a horrible job at explaining these actual charges. You've read the document, Hella. Let us know what exactly are the charges that she's facing, and for what specifically.
Okay, so she's facing mainly obstruction of justice charges. Those are the three ones that are over in Culloden County. So the perjury is over in Richland County. So that's the one you're looking at her actually committing the crime allegedly while she was at the evidentiary hearing. But the other one, the obstruction of justice charges, they are to do with her supposedly or allegedly releasing the sealed documents. Now, this is really interesting. So she's a clerk of court, right? Well, she's a former clerk of court. She was in charge of sealed documents. So when you do a records request, you generally address it to the clerk of court, unless it's in Indiana where you go to the court reporter, Jody. So if we saw it when we read out, when we read out the Becky mails, there was all those Becky mails, remember, that were FOIA'd. And she gave a lot of stuff out to the press, because remember, she was flirting with the press because she wanted to promote her book, and she knew this in advance. She was writing this book,
and she was even talking to someone about writing a book.
Yeah, she was talking to her ghostwriter, Neil Gordon, about writing the book. This is whilst the trial was going on, and then immediately after the trial was going on, she was talking to Netflix and NBC and all these different media outlets, and she was entertaining their request for records without even the proper due process in regard to their records requests. So she was just giving them access to records. Now, this is partially what the perjury charge is about, but then the actual act of giving those records out happened over in Culloden County. Now, there's also the potential obstruction of justice charges. So the did she actually interfere with anything over in the case? But they've really worded it carefully so that it does not affect Alex Murdaugh's chances of retrial. So we have an article about this. It's over on Fitz News, right? And we read it out the other day.
Maybe that's why, and I would say that's exactly why they didn't bring charges related to the Alex Murdaugh trial specifically. Because
they haven't.
That's exactly why they didn't, because then it would necessitate the issue and a reexamination of whether or not he needs a new trial.
Yeah.
Well, he's going before the Supreme Court of South Carolina anyway, so that's already happening.
Once the prosecutor gets off his ass and finishes writing the response.
Yeah, well, they just had another continuance allowed, so, and I wonder why. They probably know about all this stuff going on, right? But the chances of him getting a retrial at state level, at the Supreme Court state level, are fairly good.
50-50 at least.
Because there is a state standard and there is a federal standard for them to look at whether or not there's been jury tampering. The trial court looked at the state standard, whereas the Supreme Court can take either the state standard or the federal standard, looking at the jury tampering, and go, oh, well, was the jury actually affected in their decision making? Judge Choll decided that they were not. Whereas the federal standard is, was there jury tampering? Just flat out, was there jury tampering?
Now this judge, how she conducted the hearing, I believe, is good. I do believe she punted it upwards, so she didn't have to make a decision.
Absolutely.
And
She knew flat out right from the start. She was not going to.
yeah. In my opinion, she knew exactly what the problem was, but she was too scared to make an actual decision about it. So she punted it upwards maybe even to get the final result without her risking anything. And what was I thinking? I don't know. But all of this with the, as you say, they have, once in Supreme Court territory, they can look at the federal law. And jury tampering, well, she did get a jury punted because of the thing with the ex-husband that turned out to be absolutely untrue.
And Egg Lady is very outspoken about it and kind of annoyed. She wrote a book that, someone we know actually did the artwork for, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's a pretty book, actually.
It is.
Do I have it?
No, don't I still have a press pass for this courthouse? Someone can use
No,
it.
that was just for that event, wasn't it?
I don't know. I'll have to look. I think it's all times. I think it's in perpetuity.
I think it's still being used.
Perpetual.
Well, it could be. I haven't gotten it back. From the individual that I gave it to. I don't have it back. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, sure enough. You could just print a new one.
Sorry.
Darlie, do you have that article we were looking at the other day? Because it really shows exactly how Slayed, and I can say that, Slayed have crafted these charges very carefully so that it does not affect Alex Murdaugh's chances at retrial. But the question then is, why? Why now have they gone after Becky Hill? If it's not anything to do with Alex Murdaugh, why all of a sudden go after Becky Hill?
I said she made some enemies.
No, well, why now though? Right? So it's been this long. She's out of the system. She retired to spend more time with her grandchildren. Remember, made a big song and dance about that. So how about everyone guess? Nick, guess.
I was looking for the judge in the hearing. That's Judge
Toll.
Sheen Toll.
That's Toll.
Yeah.
Toll, yeah.
Yeah.
She.
No one got a guess?
No,
I forget what you asked.
Why now? Why now is the question.
Why
I don't
now?
know why now.
Yeah.
Why now? Right? Okay, well, I'll give you the answer. Of course it's political, right? Of course it's political. So do you remember the AG, Alan Wilson? He was at every day of the Murdaugh trial. He was inserting himself into the prosecution. He didn't need to be there. Like, he wasn't part of it. He wasn't doing any of the actual litigation. He was just there, right? Now, the Attorney General, he is now making a play for governor. Right? So, yeah, he is starting his electoral campaign now for governor. And, of course, we have Alex Murdaugh's defense attorney is a senator. And he does not want... Yeah. Isn't he?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
No, wait. He had to resign, but I think he got the job back.
Yeah. Right. So who doesn't want this Becky Hill stuff like blowing up in his face? Yeah.
I forgot about her until they brought this up. But I imagine in local politics, it's got to be a little bit more.
Oh yeah. So he has. This is ticking the boxes, guys.
No. He left office December of 2024.
We talk about Dick Uphootlian now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Go on.
No, you're right. So, yeah, I knew actually, and I got to give credit to Online Red because she worked this out. Because she came into that chat the other day and said, "Hey, this is what's going on. And of course, it's got to be political, right? Because why just all of a sudden do they decide to charge Becky Hill, which she'd walked, like she'd gotten away with this?
They
Yeah.
had to do the investigation.
Of course, look, it's for justice.
I mean, it took, even in the Laura Owens case, it took them almost a year after the trial before they actually brought the charges against her.
I feel like
How
that's
many?
definitely different because they really had to do the investigation. Apparently, they sent out a ton of subpoenas and all kinds of stuff. They had to gather the evidence.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I need to go.
Yeah,
to
well,
that.
yeah,
And-
the
and
Laura
also,
Owens, but
like-
that is overly obvious that she's a lying
Well,
hoe.
I disagree, but
I disagree. Sorry. They were under pressure from a huge social
Ilya
media
can save
campaign.
her. Ilya can save her.
well, they were under pressure too.
Yeah.
But
They,
yeah,
they would
she's
not
gonna
have
have.
charged her if
she's-
it weren't for the fact that there was a bunch of trolls coming after her. Sorry.
Hmm.
She's gonna have one
Derek, how
supporter in
much
the
was her
courtroom.
bond? Her bond was 30,000 for the Colleton one and 50 for the perjury.
PR.
Yeah, but wasn't it? It's a PR bond, which means that
Yeah,
she doesn't
bonds.
have to actually produce any money unless she fails to show. So,
Well, I don't think she's going anywhere.
yeah.
All right. Do you want to
Yeah.
see the rest of the
Yes, I do.
hearing?
Quit interrupting us, Helen.
No, sir.
Okay.
Alrighty,
Um,
with facts.
Did you ever tell the jury if you get emotional, we want to see your face because that is what they want to see? You ever tell them that?
No, sir.
Did you ever tell the jury that Mr. Murdaugh was about to testify?
I didn't tell the jurors that.
What would you tell? That's what I want to know.
Now, did you tell the jury that if they didn't reach a verdict by 10 o'clock, they were going to have to spend the night?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you ever tell them they were going to have to spend the night at
No,
some
sir.
point? Did you ever tell them that they couldn't smoke?
No, sir.
Could they smoke? That's what I want to know.
No.
No,
They said they couldn't.
You got any other books
until
in the
they
book?
got a verdict.
No, sir.
I mean, doesn't this make a good book? Thank you.
Yeah, she might have a new book, and it's also called Behind the Doors of Justice. Because, yeah, she doesn't have to change anything but the cover and then plagiarize that book too.
Inspired by 50 Shades of Grey.
Gross.
Just talking about the prison, God.
Oh, do you know who hasn't commented on these charges? Mr. Waters.
Hmm.
No comments so far about this. According to himself, at that time, a very, very honorable person.
You know who has, though?
No.
E.B.
What?
Eric Bland.
Oh,
Ooh, he said-
God. Have that flat.
Yeah, Dally got his EB voice out again because he's
I did.
seething.
He's coping and seething.
He's coping and seething.
Guy is
Coping,
gross.
coping and seething. Da, 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 da.
Did they ever settle that case? Did he get paid so he can go away?
EB?
Yeah.
EB.
Yeah, but it wasn't like all the money he wanted, of course. 'Cause
Well,
they
it's
couldn't,
never enough money.
they couldn't find
No, I
all
know.
of Murdaugh's money, so they were like scrabbling like
Oh,
over every
God.
penny.
Yesterday, he said, I'm going to appear tomorrow morning on Julie Grant's opening statement show on
Of course
Court
he
TV.
is.
Oh, you twat.
He and Julie are like best buddies.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they got an expert witness that tossed Becky's phone around for an afternoon and can get some evidence that way. That
Forgot
was a
about
big
that.
part in the Murdaugh trial.
Do you remember what his book's called?
Oh,
Anything But Bland.
God. Such a twat.
I'd prefer Anything But Bland.
Where'd Nick go?
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, you muted.
I found Eric Bland's. Oh, I'm going to appear tomorrow. So I just say, hello, Eric. You personally vouched for Becky Hill's honesty. Still believe Becky Hill is honest?
Go to the mat on that one, man. Come on, you could do it.
I just love that we've
Yes,
been
sir.
right since day one.
He was always right.
He's still right.
He's a superhero. He's a warrior for justice.
And thank you to Brain Socks over at Rumble for your $2 Rumble rant. Thank you so much.
Your Honor,
Getting
there
us
were a
closer
few,
to the
matters
next
came up
spin
across,
on the
obviously, that I
wheel.
objected to.
You won't waive your right. You may reserve your rights to object to the entire line of testimony, but you may offer cross-examination subject to the assertion of your objection about the testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, so lying.
One of the things you were asked about is finding this Facebook post, and you brought that to the court's attention after a different issue had already arisen related to a juror. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And are you technically capable of manufacturing a Facebook post? Is that anything that you have any capability to do?
I'm not.
All right. And did you ask your staff member to go see if she could find this post?
I did.
Did you tell her just generally what you recalled reviewing?
Yes.
And did you give her any further instruction other than that?
No.
Were you sitting behind her as she was doing this particular search or anything like that, or did she eventually report back to you?
She is very, very techie. And then she reported back to me.
All right. So you weren't there when she was searching anything like that?
No.
That person, to my knowledge, has never testified or written an affidavit about
Or a book.
what she actually did.
About a book.
She was like, I couldn't find that post, but I did find this, and handed you the Facebook post. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
And you provided that to Judge Newman, and ultimately it was provided to the parties. Is that correct?
Right. Correct.
I'll allow it.
Nick, private chat.
You were asked about conversations that you had with the forelady. Did those involve logistical issues and things like that for the jury?
The conversations with the forelady was everything. There was nothing regarding the defendant and this trial.
All right. So they were logistical issues, not anything to do with the substance of the.
Dali did that, not me. I'd do a better job.
It's like quality hella work to me. I don't know.
By the way,
It's
this is the
not.
photo. This is the photo that she's being charged for, isn't it?
I believe so. Leakiness.
Oh.
Lol.
Absolutely.
Oh, actually, did you show her mugshot?
No, but
Not
it
gonna
Oh,
lie.
is.
go back to
Just
go
to
back
grow
to
her hair out,
Dali's,
didn't she?
She looks hotter than ever. In fact,
I-
look,
very
she's got
post-coital
bed
hair.
hair.
That's been photoshopped. They brought in her jowls. She doesn't
It's
look like Walter
AI.
Matthau in
It's
that photo.
AI, folks. It's AI.
I think
I
she got
said
it
that,
out.
and Fitz retweeted me. I know.
She
because
retweeted you?
apparently- No, Fitz News did because
Yeah.
she's not.
He thought you were Nikki
she's not
Haley.
techie enough to do that. But I said she looks hotter than ever, and I call fake and AI, and Fitz News retweeted me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But she does
Oh.
look better than ever in that photo. The hair's nice and like the
Well, that 50 grand, that was her cut. Maybe she did something with it. I don't know.
I think she got some Botox done.
I feel like it's more the forward flash aiming at her face that
I
softens
mean-
those wrinkles and those jowls.
She grew out her hair.
You know what this is like? This is like when you take the Golden Girls and you give them modern haircuts. They look a lot younger.
I think it's definitely the different hair. Like the other hair made her look like like her grandma. This hair
Yeah.
is like
She looks like
Yeah, that's all it
Maybe.
is. It's the Golden Girl effect.
Cougars Gone Wild.
Oh.
You were asked about whether or not you had texted some people, this won't be long. Was that at all in any way based on any conversation you had with a juror as to their internal thinking or anything like that? Or was that
That's
just
my line.
your assessment being an experienced person in the court?
Absolutely not.
It was based on just your assessment?
Just my assessments. Yes.
Oh,
Did you ever communicate with the jurors on how long they would be, or did any juror ever tell you how long they thought they would be?
I never talked to any jurors about anything like that.
You were asked about your book, and I don't want to get into too much detail about that, but you were asked about some of the assertions that you
Why would you not go into detail about her book, Mr. Waters?
Because it doesn't help his case. It doesn't help his case.
Sadly, it's off the market at this point, but so it doesn't really help her either.
Dave found a paperback for $80.
I did. I can have it by like Tuesday, but I don't want to pay $80 for it.
How
It
much
was
would you pay for
$24.99
a
at the
signed
time.
copy?
Wasn't it Kurt who got a copy and started reading from it?
No, it was Jeff.
It was Jeff.
It was Jeff.
Oh, Jeff.
It was Jeff. Jeff had a copy.
Which means Connor has the copy.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm going through a Fox News article about this, and I just got to pull up this image. of Becky.
Uncivil, they say Uncivil also had it.
That was Uncivil. Wait,
Yeah,
there we
but Jeff definitely had it.
Oh.
I don't know
reading
about
it,
I don't know
yeah.
about Kurt,
Oh, well, I
but
was
Jeff
making his
definitely had
pizza
it.
So there is 2 copies.
My computer's
Somewhere.
messing up. I can't add it for some reason.
We do have access to a copy. One of our members, John, has it.
And if I ever buy the autograph version, I'll have it. 150. So
I don't know why I won't let
Apparently,
me
it's
add it.
crap anyway.
Well, I just want the autograph.
It's a signed book. Yeah, it's signed by the person who
Yeah,
bought
you
it.
can Get it and sniff it and get some Werther's original.
He wants
Nick, pull up the screen I'm sharing because this is just I don't know why it just makes me giggle.
Yeah, John's got it. Half Irish.
Me in a Speedo.
No, it's Becky Hill.
Oh.
I don't know why she's like doing a little dance. It's just so stupid. Why is this in an article about her?
When was that?
This is
During the trial, they had a band and everything.
no, this is May 14th.
Oh.
They have her mugshot. They have the indictment. They have
Well, I assumed
this.
the picture was from a while ago.
Oh
That's
yeah.
gotta be her hair shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like okay, so this is the picture that they use.
There's a band.
Yeah, there's a band at the courthouse. It's just
Oh, they got the
getting
Taj
down.
Mahal to the right of her.
Taj Mahal. You keep going on about the Taj
I
Mahal.
love the
For God's
Taj Mahal.
sake.
They had to get porta potties, and she was in charge of getting the porta potties for the courthouse because there were so many
Yep.
people there, and they were called the Taj Mahal.
God.
Search
They
the
were
Taj
luxurious.
Mahal, Nick. It's so worth it.
What?
They were like portable restrooms, but they were like luxury.
Luxury
Luxury
porta
porta-
potties. Oh,
I was just
They were so good. Like
The-
no expense spared for the trial of the century.
oh God. I mean, how much luxury can you have on a portable potty?
Search it. T-A-J, huh? What was it?
EAJ.
M-A stall.
Tame.
Taj
I-
stall.
Oh, I've seen these. They have these like randomly in the streets, in like
Yeah.
public places.
I don't get a good
Here.
result here.
Here,
Okay,
I'll
you
pull
got it. You got it?
Oh,
these are them.
majestic
Okay, wait.
bathroom trailer.
Go
Yeah, but if you
inside,
look
get
inside, yeah. I mean, it's got like candles.
It's got
I've seen
granite.
these. They have these ventilation. Look at they got flowers.
Oh God.
What they got.
They hide a bunch of those.
No,
They have
they're-
these in like
bunch of them.
in Detroit, in downtown Detroit, where they Nick, remember where we walked and they had all the food trucks and stuff?
Yeah.
So they have these all throughout there.
Sorry.
They're nice. I like them. Hey, if you gotta poop on the run,
Or if you want to have sex in them, as Kari says.
well,
That sounds like you've done
I mean, if you've got to get it on in a public space in a bathroom, does it really matter if it's that or the blue plastic ones? Do you care at that point?
I think you care.
Do you?
I mean,
Yeah.
if they were side by side, I'd probably pick that one. True.
Yeah, look, you'd pick that one. Like at least you get to do it in the bath, in the not in
On
the
the
toilet
granite
area,
countertop?
but in the countertop
area?
area.
We got
Yeah,
flowers and candles.
but I think if
Romantic.
Becky
Very
could do it,
romantic.
she would go into like the jailhouse area. That's hot,
mm,
right? Like exactly where that photo was taken.
she used
What if you
Murdoch's
have a
Wow.
traffic
advice,
accident when towing one? Oh,
reminded
oh.
her of prom night.
There was a story as years ago. There was a story of like a semi trailer full of porta johns that overturned. And they were all over the freeway.
What a good metaphor
Littered
for
with
the
porta
stream.
johns.
Mm.
It was a
my teens
metaphor
and-
for the trial. Yes.
In my teens and 20s, I went to a lot of festivals over here in Europe. You really do not want to engage in smexy time in a porta potty.
You don't want to engage in anything.
Now, you will, but you shouldn't.
Nick, where's the worst place you've engaged?
Worst? My ex, generally.
My ex generally. All right, you know what? I'm gonna give you that one. That was an amazing answer. Thank you, sir. Using it.
Oh, don't stick your D in crazy. It's fun. You want to do it again, but you will regret it.
Oh, Salvador, cover your ears, Sal.
Oh,
That was a nice sidetrack. He can't. He cannot talk about Becky without bringing up the Taj Mahal.
No.
what?
Just can't. He can't talk about Becky or Alec Murdoch trial or anything to do with this without bringing up the Taj Mahal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just can't.
Well,
He just thinks it's so funny, right?
no, I just think it's awesome.
And awesome, and it's just like, dude, no
I want
one
one.
remembers the Taj Mahal, right?
I know. You have to explain it every time, but it's so worth it.
She wasted so much public money on these things.
Carrie, how did you manage to do that at a public fountain? Oh, you mean
know
one of these large ones? Were you in the water? Was it squirting? No.
Nobody sees what goes on under the water, Nick. You know what? That question is going to make it into my Lego streams from now on. That's going to be a staple in my Lego streams. I think so.
Oh, yeah. I was on a cruise. I was in my mid-20s. And me and my then girlfriend did not know that elevator, once it got out of the bottom floor and started going up, oh, it's a glass elevator.
Oh,
There was a TikTok I scrolled by of a couple, like the doors opened in the elevator. And then they were like, hurry up and covering things. Really, people? I mean, at least turn off the elevator like I used to.
Do you remember that 80s movie with what was it? Oh, what was it called? It with Michael.
Teen Wolf?
No, the thing.
narrow
Was it Michael
down.
J. Fox in New York getting it on with his aunt?
No, not that Michael. Jesus Christ.
I'll be right back.
All right. No, that movie, something where
Silence of
she
the Lambs?
boils the rabbit and stuff.
She what? Boils a rabbit?
Oh,
Nick's having a granddad moment.
yeah. Michael Douglas
Fast Times?
and
Ridgemont High.
Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction. Thank you.
Okay, pick a sign.
They did it in an elevator, and after that movie, everybody had it in an elevator. Same with 9.5
Everybody
weeks.
did.
Same with 9.5 weeks. Everybody started doing it with food.
So that's why my dad sold his elevator repair business in the 80s.
It was a sticky business. Sorry, Hella.
Makes sense.
Oh, 9.5 weeks was such a big movie in the 80s, and it was so bad.
Gross.
Yeah. I was too young in the 80s.
Oh, curry, yuck.
Yeah, we don't need that much information, Carrie. Yeah, thank you, but yeah, thank you. Thank you for the very, very expressive hands-on.
That's why the buttons kept sticking.
There's always one in chat.
Yeah,
It's usually
always
me.
one.
It's usually Mavcar.
Yeah, Glenn Close and Michael Douglas. Yeah, in Fatal Attraction. Thank you, Pink Slime. Yeah. The only part of that movie anyone remembers is when she did the wee and no knickers.
Did the wee.
Oh. All right, let's try to get through this one.
Made in the book. And you were asked if these were lies. Were they lies, or were they ultimately things that were based on inferences from newspapers and community stories?
No, please.
You are leading by, this is your witness, Mr. Waters, so please ask a direct question.
Thank you. Some of the statements that you were asked about in your book, were they lies, or were they based on your inferences from just general community knowledge and things that you had researched and knew?
Still leading, but I'm not going to
Thank you.
He's right about that, Mr. Waters. Just ask a direct question.
Did you lie in your book?
No, I did not.
Thank you.
Yes,
You were asked about when you told the jury to pay attention. When you asked that question, did you also mention anything about we got coffee for you or things like that?
I knew that Mr. Bill would take care of that. And the jurors knew too.
Is the guy's first
We had
name or
done
last
some
name
donut
Bill?
runs. We had provided coffee, different other things to help stay awake in the cold courtroom that we.
Glenn Close is Fatal Attraction. Glenn Close is Fatal Attraction. Oh, she
What'd you
was
ask, David?
hot back in the day.
I was asking if Mr. Bill's first name or last name was Bill.
Oh.
Mr. Waters?
Bill.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
Bill Waters.
His name's Crichton.
No,
Great.
the court the court officer that was leading the jury around. She calls him Mr. Bill.
Oh.
Oh no.
Mr. Bill's got to get him coffee or get them coffee.
Mr. Bill.
Yeah.
We found ourselves in. And so I knew anything that they needed, Mr. Bill would see that they got, because that's what he did.
God.
At any time, did you have any conversation with any juror in which you tried to influence their decision?
I did not have a conversation with any juror about any.
That's a provable lie.
It is.
Because she earlier in this hearing said she talked to the jury foreperson separately in the hallway between the jury rooms.
2 different rooms.
Oh yeah, it's the wrong room.
Anything related to this
Keep them
case.
separated.
All right.
I'm gonna listen to some Offspring later.
Ms. Hill,
He's seething.
I want you to turn your attention to a hearing that Judge Newman had.
Oh, I liked this judge all up until she
Pissed in the
punted
court?
it forward. She punted it upwards. But it's apparent she knows Becky is full of shit.
Oh yeah. She actually questioned her pretty hard at one point.
Yeah.
And was saying to Dali, like, remember, like, we live streamed this, and it got right down to the wire at the end, and we were naive enough to think that she might actually rule in the defense's favor. And we had Andrew Branca and Sean on stream. You weren't there, were you, Nick? Were you with us? I don't think so. I think you popped in during the day, but I don't think you were there for
I might have.
For the verdict. But I remember Branca and Sean, they were just like that. And Branca was actually like eating his dinner. He was like so like as if, and we were all just like on the edge of our seat like that. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Like that. Branca's just like, he was kind of like you eating popcorn.
Oh, me?
On Laid Back Law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like that moment.
My last time on Laid Back Law. No.
Yeah, on Laid Back Law. It was just like that moment, right? If I look back on it, it was just like, oh, here's the dumb like non-lawyers who know that. Who know that
You think she's going to rule?
you think she's going to rule for the defense, right?
Yeah. That's the same as Judge.
I'll allow it.
Regarding Fannie Willis, Judge.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his face?
Newman? No, Glanville.
No, not Glanville. In the
Whitaker?
hearing regarding her
Oh, what's his name?
McAfee.
Oh.
Yeah, him.
Also, a very good judge. Extremely good questions.
Yeah.
Everything good, and he punted it upwards because too scared to make a decision.
Yes, Trenton. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. Halfway through this, she's interviewing the jurors, and she finds out the rest of the jurors are on their phone in the back watching this hearing.
Yeah.
That was such a moment.
Oh, yeah.
God, this whole day was so dramatic.
Oh, we are getting to it soon.
About the alternate who was dismissed, sometimes called the egg juror. Do you recall that hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
In the hearing, Judge Newman expressed his unhappiness with you for questioning that juror before he questioned her. Do you recall that?
I do remember seeing that.
Well, then let's go back and talk about that juror. You on examination in this courtroom, you said that she talked about a lot of things to you, but you didn't ask her any questions. But that's not completely accurate, is it?
Yes, ma'am, that is true.
Well, you asked her direct questions, and that came out in the hearing that Judge Newman had. You asked her questions before she was even examined by the judge, did you not?
Your Honor, I did not ask her any questions.
Liar! She looks like a judge. She really does.
Well.
Oh, I forgot this was a female judge. I forgot about that. It sounds like a
Gender
man.
neutral, maybe.
Yeah, because now this judge is looking through the transcript from the hearing with Judge Newman, where Judge Newman said,
The juror was examined
I'm not happy that you did this before. Yeah, whatever it was.
by the judge in a hearing. Do you recall that hearing? It's the second hearing on this matter.
I do recall that hearing, yes.
And the court asked you about, the court asked this juror about postings on Facebook, did he not?
Correct.
And the juror said she gave Miss Becky my full access to my Facebook. And I put positive posts on it. I've done that for the past 3 years. Do you recall her testifying in that regard?
I do remember reading that.
And the judge said, has anyone posted anything on Facebook about you? And the juror answered, I was not aware of it until Miss Becky told me today. Do you recall that?
I do remember her saying that.
And do you recall the judge saying, what did she tell me? And the juror said, she asked me if I had an ex-husband, and I said, yeah. Did you ask her that?
I remember her saying this, Your Honor, but I did not ask her any of these questions.
And she further says, she asked me if I had talked to him about the case or being on jury duty, and I said no. I had questioned her about why she was asking me that. I haven't seen my husband since 2014. Do you recall her testifying to that?
I do remember that, yes.
And with that, having jarred your memory, do you recall asking her about her husband and his post?
Oh, speaking
Your
of
Honor,
that,
I don't remember
lady,
saying anything about that.
Well, what was the post that you read in the Walterboro word of mouth? What was the nature? You read that, did you not?
I did.
What did it say?
My memory is a little fuzzy with that, but it was about an ex-husband who found out that his ex-wife was on a jury, and he didn't think that she would
I
be a
got
good
it. I'll be
juror.
back.
And it just sounded very similar to what I had heard the judge and the attorneys speaking
So
about.
you then went to that juror and questioned her about that, did you not?
I did not, Your Honor.
Well, she says in this testimony that she didn't know about the Facebook until Miss Becky told me. Was that incorrect?
I'm not saying,
Some kind of conversation went between the two of her for her to know about that post, correct?
that's true. And I'm thinking that it could have been someone, it wasn't me. I just know that it's not me that she talked to about that.
Well, when the judge, the judge was questioning the juror about this, she also said that she had 3 restraining orders against him. And she also said, I was very upset after she told me that. Like I said, I have 3 restraining orders against him, and I wouldn't have anything to do with him if I didn't have a child with him. But I haven't seen him since 2014. Y'all didn't discuss that, the restraining orders?
On the way from the jury room to the back chambers where the judge was, she was very scared. She was talking about the 3 restraining orders that she had out on her husband at the time that they were divorcing, and she was scared that he would be trying to get back in contact with her again.
Well, how do you know that? Did she tell you that?
She was talking about that on the way to the jury room, to the chambers with the judge.
So how did Judge
And in, the
Newman
court,
find out?
in this hearing now that I'm looking at, that the court is conducting, she said, they're asking about this Facebook post. And she said, Miss Becky said she went to look for the post again and that it had been deleted. I don't know who she talked to or anything else, but she said apparently, do you recall her saying that?
I do remember her saying that.
And the court then said, what did she tell you about that? And the juror said, it was after you let us go on the last break. I was very upset. This is what you're talking about. And she came down and talked to me and said that apparently, I don't know who talked to him, but he said he was drunk and he removed the post. Do you recall that?
Well, she didn't tell me that, and I didn't talk with her about that.
Well, you saw that post, the so-called apology post, did you not?
Right, I did.
And you assumed that was a post from her husband, did you not?
Right.
And then you talked to the juror about that, did you not?
I did not talk with the juror about that.
Well, who did you talk to about it? Did you bring it to the judge's attention?
No, we didn't get a chance to talk to the judge about that.
Didn't get the chance? Sure.
The court asked this juror, has the clerk discussed anything about the case with anyone on the jury? The juror said, not that I'm aware of. The judge said, okay, she was just discussing with juror. She pulled me aside when we went downstairs after the last break. I want to say it was after lunch, and we came back. And that's when she first told me about this, what we now know was not a post from her husband.
Right.
But you assumed it was a post at the time, and y'all had a conversation about it, correct? Don't that just nod? Answer the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I believe that it was one of my staff that she talked to, but it was not me that she talked to.
But the juror says, and I want to say it was after lunch we came back, and that's when she first told me about it. She's talking about you.
Correct.
Then we went back into the court, and I never even got to sit on the jury. The judge says, the judge then stops the questioning, and she exits the room. Mr. Griffin, Your Honor, I think that satisfies it. She hadn't talked to anybody, hadn't expressed an opinion, hadn't made up an opinion, She's got an ex-husband and she has 3 restraining orders against him. The court said, Mr. Waters, just obviously we're all invested in this. My main concern, I certainly would love to, but not love to, but want to hear, what one of these individuals said. But, she answered the questions as she did, talking about the juror.
Hey, Nick, I got to jump off.
Okay.
They then
All right.
have a
Take care, guys. Sorry. Yeah. My dad just got here with his 1958 GM or MGA. So we're going to go for a little ride.
Ooh.
Nice.
I will see you tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow,
tomorrow,
7
isn't it?
p.m. Go check out. And then before that, if I can plug myself a little bit, I'm going to be doing a members only stream at I think like 1 o'clock. So if you guys want to check out, if you're a member of mine.
Yeah.
And
Sweet.
but y'all have a good rest of your Friday.
Yeah.
Take care, all.
Yay.
Okay.
You too.
Take care.
Tell
Yeah.
Papa I said hi.
Oh, will do.
Papa Bear.
I don't think he will.
colloquy about this juror and whether this was really her husband that put this post in that you talked to her about and apparently talked to the court about at some point. Am I right?
That's right.
And then at the end, the judge said that he was not too happy with your having talked to the juror before you talked to him. Do you recall the judge saying that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And did you pop right up there and say what you're saying now, that you never talked to her?
We never talked about it after that. I wasn't in the room when he said that.
The judge brought up another thing right after sentencing that I want to explore with you briefly. All right. One of the big responsibilities of the clerk of court is to take control of the exhibits that are presented in court. Isn't that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there were sealed exhibits presented in this case that were photographs of the 2 decedents at Moselle when the law enforcement authorities first investigated the murders. You recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
And those photographs were sealed by the judge, were they not?
Correct.
And when the testimony about them was completed, they were under your control as the clerk of court, were they not?
That's correct.
How was it that those photographs came into public view?
Are you talking about after the?
I'm talking about the fact he alluded to it on sentencing and said that he was frustrated about it and was going to try to look into it. Those photographs that were sealed court exhibits under your control found their way into the public media, did they not?
I believe they did. And I think what happened, it was someone from the gallery took a picture from a screen that
Lie.
had some of the pictures
Lie.
on it, if I'm remembering correctly.
Lie.
Did you ever allow anyone from the press to view these sealed exhibits?
No, ma'am.
Did you allow
Lie.
Netflix to ever examine the exhibits for trial?
No, ma'am.
That's
Lie.
absolutely able to
How
be
did you
proven.
handle exhibits? Because you did have the press have great access to the exhibits, and you say several times in your book that you had to stay after to be sure that you interacted with the press about these exhibits. That's true,
So
is it
in your
not?
book.
That is true. We had Mr. J. Bender, and then we had the pool photographers and someone from maybe the state, I believe, or the Post and Courier, along with the court reporters, someone from court administration, and then someone from the clerk's office every night that would go over the exhibits to make sure everything was correct and within our domain.
Were any press people ever allowed to view the exhibits, even the sealed exhibits that you had on file?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Lie.
What was the methodology for allowing them to examine the exhibits? How'd you handle that?
I wasn't there a whole lot when we did this every night, but it's my understanding that the people that were involved with the exhibits, and especially the court reporters, and there was a certain time frame that they were allowed to take their pictures, and everything was all of the pictures were looked at by the court reporters that were there, and the lady from court administration, along with someone from my office and Mr. J. Bender, to make sure that everything was done correctly.
What I'm asking is how you handled having them, the press, view these exhibits.
If I remember correctly, the press, we had certain designated photographers, and then someone, I think, from the state of or the Post and Courier, and they were responsible for putting it out on a stream for the rest of the media to
And would
access.
they do that by photographing the exhibits as they were in your possession after court was over that day?
That is correct.
All right. And how did you handle the sealed exhibits in terms of their availability when these press people are there photographing the exhibits?
They stayed sealed.
And so you think that you're aware of the fact that some of these on the scene photographs of the two decedents found their way into the public press. You're aware of that, are you not?
Yes, ma'am, I am, yes.
And you contend that they photographed them in the courtroom?
That is what I heard.
Bullshit.
There was one. Like, there was one that came up on the screen by accident in the courtroom. So she's saying that that's how they got the images of the dead bodies. That's not possible.
No.
That's just not possible. And that was an autopsy photo. That wasn't on the scene.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Becky Hill, and how she answers the judge's questions, she doesn't flinch one bit. No, she's a natural liar. And those are scary as fuck because you can't tell unless there's evidence of actual lies, which we now know. She was lying her ass off in this hearing. And you can't tell that she is actually lying by just how she acts and answers the questions. But now we know she's full of it.
Well, I mean, the stuff that Myra Crosby wrote in this book.
Yeah.
Very clearly, like, she made up a bunch of stuff about these Facebook posts. Because Myra Crosby's like, well, there's this whole person who supposedly wrote a Facebook post, like, saying that, like, apologizing for getting involved with the trial, called Timothy Stone, right? And I don't even know him, right? And Becky just completely lied about the entire thing.
Yeah.
And also, she spoke to me and asked me what my potential vote was going to be, whether it was going to be guilty or not guilty. How is that ethical?
Yeah.
Right? This is before she got struck from being a juror.
Duchess of Fluff. I'm just tuning in, but why does she keep calling the judge ma'am? Because the judge is a ma'am.
Wow. That's a fair question.
Yes, that's a ma'am.
All right.
She's not buying it at all.
Finally, you have indicated about your book that some things that you put in there were, you called it literary license, not literally true, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever, by any kind of email communication or in any way, shape, or form, indicate or state that you wanted a guilty verdict because it would increase the sales of the book? Did you ever say that in an email or verbally or in any other way?
No, ma'am, I did not. It didn't matter to me if it was guilty, not guilty, or a mistrial.
Bullshit.
Well, in your book, you suggest that the guilty verdict was what you wanted, and you were fearful that that a guilty verdict would not be rendered. You say that a lot about your feeling about wanting a guilty verdict, do you not?
I do agree that that is said in the book, and part of that is because I think it was a guilty verdict.
Well, this is that you were describing a time way before the verdict was rendered when you wrote about those things in the book. Isn't that correct?
It is, yes.
And you even have something where you said your eyes met with jurors and others at Moselle, and y'all had an understanding, unspoken, that he was guilty. You said that in the book, did you not?
I did say that in the book, and I would consider that part of the literary, the word that we just said. But there was nothing spoken with a juror at all at Moselle or anywhere else at the courthouse or anywhere. I think that's part of that poetic license that we write to make something more apparent. But at no time did I read or try to read someone else's eyes, and that was just one of those gut feelings that I wrote in the book.
Bullshit.
This is too funny.
You wrote in the book, speaking of a time before the jury verdict was rendered, I was conflicted about knowing the Murdoch family and about having so many people watching and listening to me as I read the verdict. I was mostly concerned about Alex being found innocent when I knew in my heart he was guilty. I had this fear that the goodwill the Murdochs had built up in the community would influence the jury. You wrote that, did you not?
Yes, ma'am.
Bad.
So you had those feelings well before the verdict was announced in this case. You had some definite opinions and feelings about what the verdict should be, did you not?
I did have a certain way that I felt.
And
But I
that
would
wasn't
never-
any, that's not any poetic license, what was said there. That's how you felt, correct?
Correct.
All right. Those are my questions. Anything further from the state, Mr. Waters?
This is where he should have just sit down and shut the fuck up.
Very briefly, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
You were asked a number of questions about the interactions during the in-camera proceedings with the juror who was excluded. Were you in the room during the entirety of those interactions, or just were brought in here or there as those occurred?
No, I was only brought in for my asking of my questions from Judge Newman.
And you were asked a little bit about sealed exhibits and about Judge Newman's comments at sentencing at the end of trial. And just to clarify, those were not pictures of any sealed exhibits. It was a picture that someone had taken in the gallery that had actually been disclosed. And that's what Judge Newman was talking about, to your understanding?
That was my understanding, yes.
And then after the trial, there was even a post-trial hearing or some discussion about the fact that some body cam videos had not been sealed, and Judge Newman fixed that problem after the trial. Is that correct?
Correct.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Just a couple questions.
Mr. Hartwood,
Let me understand this correctly. You would agree that you did release all of the exhibits in this case, sealed and unsealed, to the Texas film crew. Is that correct?
No, sir. No, sir, I did not release the sealed exhibits.
What about to Netflix? Didn't you indicate to the judge they'd been mistakenly released and you're getting them back?
As an error, when we realized everything, yes, those two did go, and Netflix had not even, they said they had not even looked at them.
Did you get them back?
We did get them back, yes.
And what about a Japanese film crew? Did they get exhibits, sealed exhibits?
They did not get any sealed exhibits.
What about NBC Universal?
No sealed exhibits.
But you do concede that Netflix did get sealed exhibits.
They did it as an error. It wasn't
Who's
listed.
there?
Well, I would say the court reporter didn't mark it on the listing.
Oh, blaming the court report.
Well, why were you so accommodating to these national documentary folks? I mean, is this good for the book? I mean, the more documentaries out there about the Murdaugh thing, the better your book sales are. I mean, there was money in this for you, right? Again, it's about the money, right?
Is your question now?
Isn't it financially beneficial to you at the time to get more of these photographs out, more publicity, more Netflix, more HBOs, more Japanese? Doesn't that sell books for you? Didn't you see a financial advantage?
Not at all.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Hill, you may step down.
Dick really was on fire that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sadly the judge punted it upwards. And so far, well, as we said earlier, these charges against her are so carefully construed to not be about the trial. And again, I'm not buying it, because she did influence, especially by getting that juror off the disqualified. And I there's no doubt she got that juror out, because that was more or less the one juror who said, I'm not sure yet.
Well, there was actually two. There was one juror who was disqualified prior to even being allowed to deliberate. So that was Mara Crosby, this one, juror 785. But there was another one who, even though she did vote guilty, and that's why there was a guilty verdict, she has since, and she did actually testify to this at the evidentiary hearing, she felt pressured, and she wasn't, I feel like her words since have been to the effect that she would have been on the fence. Right now, she did give a guilty verdict, and she can't take that back now, right?
Yeah.
But she was probably the one that was still left in the juror pool. So, but Becky Hill got rid of the one who probably was not guilty, and that's Mara Crosby.
And in a jury that decided on the murder facts alone, it would have been a completely different story, because
there's that
80% of this trial was, hey, look, how he scammed disabled people. Hate him, so we don't have to prove the murder. And in my opinion, because they claim that Mr. Murdoch had his wife's phone after the murder, and he was half a mile away when that phone was doing its final steps and doing other things. Now, does that mean that he had nothing to do with it? I don't care, because the state's case was that he did all of this alone.
Yeah, 2 different guns.
And if he is carrying both phones on him, they should do the same things. And they didn't. So I don't care if 95 out of 100 pieces of evidence says he did it. Those other 5 that says he didn't, that's reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Especially with the steps and everything, and that he was half a mile away when his wife's phone stopped working. Now, I have no idea what was going on. But definitely he did not do this himself, if he was actually involved. And you have the theory about the drug cartel and everything, because if I remember correctly, it was in excess of $50,000 a month on pills.
Some absurd number.
Which, no, that's not using. That's being a distributor.
Or
so, yeah.
he hadn't been able to use the restroom in 10 years. If he was
Yeah,
doing much.
So yeah, that would be this would be so interesting to see what's going to come down of this, because who knows, maybe Becky, in order to save herself, takes a deal and starts singing. Who knows? But either way, I do believe that Mr. Murdoch deserves a new trial under a new judge that actually follows the rules of law.
Rosebud, I forgot about the armpit medical examiner.
Oh, the examiner. Yeah. Oh God.
A new trial would be fun.
Especially
I would cover
considering
the ever living fuck out of a new trial.
It would be so
Now,
much fun.
yeah. Now, folks, you have been generous. We're not there yet, but I'm in the field of another Sambuca. And yeah, we only got through the Becky Hill stuff, but that's interesting enough. Maybe we will get through some Karen Reed and Zachariah. Oh, Zachariah Anderson. Hella, talk about Zachariah Anderson.
Yes. And you're invited, by the way, if you would like, and if you have any time.
If I can, I will.
Yes, no problem. So basically what we're doing is a little look back. It's 2 years this weekend since his sentencing. So they're very sort of poignant and a bit sad, but also we're trying to be positive. 2 years, can't believe it. Zachariah Anderson was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree homicide, intentional homicide, and 2 counts of stalking, and 1 count of hiding a body,
that was
hiding a
never
corpse
found.
that was never found. And we very strongly believe that they are wrongful convictions.
Yeah.
He is in prison until he's 90, so for all intents and purposes, a life sentence. His children are missing their dad. He's missing them growing up. And yeah, there are plenty of reasons to not only doubt his guilt, but to completely throw it out. So what we're going to do is give people a bit of an overview of the case who've never seen it or heard of it before. We have met a lot of new people over the last sort of 6-12 months, especially people who have been following the wrongful conviction of Richard Allen. And I feel that there are a lot of people in that community who are very empathetic to the horror of a wrongful conviction.
Mm.
And I would like to give this opportunity to not only mark the 2-year anniversary, but also give everybody a bit of a chance to get to know this case. I'm hoping that Solomon might be able to pop on. We've got David, hopefully yourself. But we're just going to play a little bit of his sentencing and a couple of little clips from the trial. But just, yeah.
Here's the thing.
Maybe encourage.
It's Trinta says, did his daughter recant? She's the reason he got convicted. You heard her say Zachariah threatened her with a gun. That was stipulated later, a day after, that there was no gun.
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter. But for just one thing, according to the prosecution, Zachariah got from his home there, did all the deeds, and got back within a very, very narrow point of time. Let me show you this. These are the amounts of traffic cameras Zachariah had to avoid in order for the state's case to make sense.
Yes.
Zachariah Anderson, no cameras, no traffic cameras, no home cameras, no ring cameras, no nothing cameras ever saw him going to the scene of the crime or back from the scene of the crime.
Nope.
It is 40 plus cameras, because if you claim, maybe he took this other route. Yeah, but if he did, he wouldn't have had time to do anything.
It would have taken an hour and a half.
According to the state's case, Zachariah Anderson started with a bat of sorts, then a knife of sorts, then rolled a 6-foot, 270-pound man into a 5-by-7-foot rug, and somehow got that thing out of the apartment without drag marks or droplets.
No DNA.
Into his car in a 3-foot by 4-foot area. and the only trace is a pinprick
Yep.
sized brown speck where the what you call it, the lab says, yeah, this is Mr. Rosalio's DNA, even though they did not have a full profile of Mr. Rosalio's DNA.
Yep. And it was just in her scientific opinion, that was Lisa Traffinger's
Yeah.
wording, actually.
Yeah. Oh, and it
It was
was not
scientific
even,
opinion.
she didn't even say it's because
No.
the question from the prosecutor was, in your scientific opinion, is this Rosalio? And she said yes.
Yes.
That was the entirety of the testimony regarding DNA. Yeah, it's a match. There was no, it's 1 in 10 billion. It's 1 in a quadrillion.
Yeah.
No numbers whatsoever, just in your opinion.
Yes.
That's it. And that's from not even a full profile. So yeah, the Zachariah Anderson case, in my personal opinion, Zachariah Anderson is wrongfully convicted.
Yeah.
All right, we
Incredibly
are
sad.
closing in on 3 hours. I took an extra Sambuca because of your very, very nice contributions. I think I think we're a bit done. This was Friday buzzed. What the fuck did I call this stream?
Slightly buzzed.
Slightly
Friday Law
buzzed.
Slightly buzzed Friday Law Show. We only got through the Becky Hill stuff. That trial against Karen Reed will go on. We might. Who knows? Next Friday we might be into the defense case in chief.
Hopefully.
And we didn't get into the Zachariah Anderson case, but that will be handled tomorrow by Hella. And legend says that Andrea Burkhart will show up.
Oh, I don't know if she will or not, but she's very supportive. She allowed us to promote throughout her stream today.
Yeah.
She's welcome. She's got a link and stuff. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So thank you to Brain Socks for your $2 Rumble Rant. Thank you to Snivers for gifting 20 memberships. To Derek for your super sticker. To Brooklyn for your gifted membership. To Derek again for your super sticker. And thank you for Tammy for being a member for 10 months. And thank you to Dali for showing up. Thank you to Hella for showing up. Thank you to Dave. He was here. And thank you guys in the chat. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So I will send you over to Sean, potentially criminal.
Oh, yay.
So again, everybody, thank you so much. And I will see you all. Oh, by the way, I have a new channel, Trial Watch Clips channel, where I post clips and longer stuff. And tomorrow I will have a Judge Simpson marathon live.
Fun.
The entire last week. Cut out all the pauses and stuff. So for about 11 and a half hours of Judge Simpson on my Trial Watch Clips channel. Okay, now I'm done. Everybody, thank you again. Have a good one, and I will see you all guys in the next stream or video. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Toodles.
high, shields strong. From distant lands we gather.